get rolling.
All right, let's do that.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris the High Guy Jacobs, and today we are starting a brand new segment on the channel called Who TF Are You? We're taking an in-depth look at all of the community players and the faces of the game that seem to make this game so strong in what it does. And joining me today is the one and only ThatPandaGuy. ThatPandaGuy, thank you very much for joining me. Say hi to the folks.
What's up, everybody? Hope you guys are having a great day.
Awesome, awesome.
Let's get
So,
into this.
exactly. So first and foremost, let's
Sir?
just know a little bit about you. Why don't you tell the people just a little bit about where you are and who you are and why you like this game, things like that.
Well, I mean, you want to hear like about me? I mean,
Sure, yeah.
okay.
Give people something to know about you.
All right. Well, I live in South Carolina, about like borderline North Carolina. My name is Blake. Yeah, and I started the game a few years ago. It was kind of funny because I played this game called Heckfire, and you can actually find that on my channel if you scroll like long ways back. But I used to play this game called Heckfire, and at that time I kind of gotten bored of the game. I was kind of looking for something else. And every single day I would be in the app store. I'd be like, come on, man, give me something new. Give me something that catches my eye. And it ended up being Doomsday. And I was like, okay. And it was a pretty fairly small game at the time, to be honest. And I didn't really care. I was just like, as long as the game bops, you know. And it was kind of funny because I just started doing videos in the game back then. Sorry about my dog. When it was earlier out. Um, and I remember I did videos and none of them actually had like gotten views, but then randomly one day they had like started getting like hundreds of views. And I think that's when they kind of released from beta or something because they started like doing regional releases where they would like release in one country, then the next, blah, 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 right? So overall, I kind of just started out that way and it kind of just went from there. And I kind of like expanded my knowledge. I'm sure you get the same feeling sometimes, but like you look back at your old videos and it's like, dude, what was I talking about? You know, like as you kind of like become like I feel like a smarter player or more knowledgeable, like information that you spout maybe like months ago, you'll be like, dude, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. You know what I mean?
It's true. The only benefit I have is that I'm fairly new to this. Like I've only been around since
Yeah.
about June-ish, April, May, June, something like that. So I haven't had a lot of time to eat my own words yet. However, however, I am proud to say I have never told anyone to level up Liam. So as long as we're on that route, we're good.
I used to tell people to level up Peter, but Peter had AoE back in the day, and he was one of the few heroes as well. So to be fair, he was like one of the very few heroes that you had, and he had AoE. Like most people don't know this, but Peter back in the day had AoE attack, man, and then they nerfed him. I think they nerfed what's it called, Jaden as well, and then they made him a
Yeah, they did
whatever
something to his
campaign hero.
damage, I think, right? They nerfed his damage. It's only like
I think
9,000, I think, now or something like that.
I think that might have been after the actual previous nerf because they had like it was like years ago they nerfed him with Peter.
Oh yeah.
Who's the siege hero. So yeah, I don't know. Like they pissed off some people back in the day. I'm sure you can actually like scroll up to like the very earlier days in Discord, and there was like one guy who was complaining like it was a religion, dude, and he was like so pissed because he invested all his relics in Jaden and they had nerfed him, and he was like, what the hell? Why aren't you guys compensating me with something, bro? Because it's also annoying when you get like a hero like this and he just becomes suddenly a campaign hero, right? And you can
Hmm.
kind of get him for free, you know, and you just invested hundreds of like universal relics. Like I would be pissed too, but
Well, it's like the Calamity Sisters, right? Like they, at one point were pretty good, except for that what's a $300 or something like that to unlock Catherine, and then it's like, and then they released Bella and Elena, and you're like, well, all of a sudden, all of like it's just so it's unbalanced in that. It's really hard to have
yeah.
those old.
Especially since it's like, oh, well, if I don't want to spend, I don't need to spend on her. I mean, to be fair in that regard, I feel like Catherine still was okay. I just feel like she wasn't as good, you know what I mean? And if you were to spend, right, like especially if you're an earlier player, you obviously can't insta awaken, let's say 10 heroes if you want 5 marches. So like awakening someone like Catherine would be pretty easy for like someone who's willing to spend $300, you know, and
Yeah.
it's like the fastest hero to awaken in a sense. So I don't know. It's kind of like an up and down.
And I have to say that with the skins that they released, it makes them definitely more valuable in comparison to what they were. You know what I mean? Like those are
No joke.
fire
Like
fire skins.
I mean, don't I feel like the skins cost more than the actual character to awaken.
Yeah, but
I
hold
mean, if you
on.
were to do it in the dice.
Hold on though. I looked and noticed from a couple of the new accounts, like newer accounts, are getting the skin when they awaken Catherine. It's
Oh
part of the
yeah, I
VIP
think
drop.
yeah, I heard that. So it's cheaper for them. Some
What about us,
BS.
bro? What about us?
Literally. Because
Jeez.
I think I got sent some screenshots and they were like, it was something in the screenshots because you got to like VIP. I don't know which VIP it was. I swear I got like a screenshot a while ago. But maybe it was like VIP 10 or something like that, or VIP 9. But yeah, they got it for free in VIP, which is
Yeah, I'm
crazy.
like that's so jacked. And now all the ones who had it previously get nothing. Like,
Yeah,
sorry.
and it wasn't even like they waited on it. They literally dropped it in VIP. The second they dropped it in, I think the packs they'd kind of given us, which was like, I don't know, $400 or something like that, I think.
Yeah, it was 400 to get both skins, and then immediately
It's
started
like,
giving it out for free. Like, what? What is it? Who are you trying to? Oh my goodness. So, I mean, you talked about you've been playing the game now for a couple of years. What was it that
yeah.
brought you into the game originally? Like, what did you like about it?
I mean, I kind of Well, to be fair, I had just looked at like kind of the game on Play Store and I was like, this looks like a bop. And I would sometimes download games before I like would uninstall almost all of them. And I kind of got into it and I was like, okay, well, this is kind of nice. And I like the field combat. That's like my favorite part. And thing is, I think one thing, and I don't know if like it is how I feel or if it's just like something I kind of think about, but I mean, when you look at like Rise of Kingdoms, for example, right? And I think this is why a lot of people might want to get in a game like Doomsday or something that's just much younger. It's like that game one, it is older, and it's kind of like you get in a game like Doomsday, and you're kind of getting in earlier. You're kind of getting in before a lot of competition and stuff. So, it's not like you're starting like 10 legs down the race or something, like you're starting in pretty early, which is also nice. So you're not doing like a late game competition. And I actually like the graphics more. I don't know about like I don't hate Rise of Kingdoms graphics, but the cartoony stuff isn't really my thing. I kind of like the more mature looking graphics that Doomsday offers me. So I vibe with it, man. I vibe with it more. So
That's
I like
that's
Doomsday.
that's exactly what I was gonna say. I think the field battle mechanics are some of the best ideas that they've had, especially in mobile games. And let's be honest, there's a ton of these kind of games out there, right? I mean, Rise of Kingdoms is one, State of Survival is one. I mean, you could list them forever, and they all kind of have the same premise where you're building up your shelter, you're investing in your heroes. In fact, some of them might even have the same hero
I,
designs.
I think one thing that like differentiates something like Doomsday though is like, field combat. Same with Rise of Kingdoms, right? Whereas like State of Survival, like one reason I don't like those games as much is I don't hate the whole hit and done mechanic, but it's just not as fun to me.
That's
It's
right.
like especially once you start getting in a game like this, it's kind of like, bro, what am I doing? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like there's almost no kind of like control over everything you're doing. Right? And I think having like so much control over everything that you have to do and like it forces you to be more strategical and all this type of stuff in a game like this. It makes it more interesting for me. Whereas, with a game like State of Survival or Lords Mobile for instance, right? All it takes is like, okay, what formation am I hitting someone with? And
Yeah,
you want to make
exactly.
sure you're kind of countering them, and boom, you're done in a second. So I don't know, not a huge trend.
Well, that's exactly what it is. I find like being able to fight in the field and individually control your troops and like strategically place them and like move them out of AOE combat and like you know focus on which heroes to target in the battlefield. Like it becomes a whole new layer that I think really is needed in this type of game. That's one of the things that I really love about.
Yeah, and like I said, strategical as well, be it like you need certain field control, you need to kind of coordinate your players. I mean, like I've had instances where there's teams that are stronger than me or have players that are stronger than me, yeah, we still win, and just because we kind of outplay them. And obviously there's
Mhm.
cases where it's just all about like who has the bigger wallet, but a lot, as long as there's like a fight that's kind of on the closer end, as long as like a team is more like they strategize more, they plan more, unless both teams strategize really well, you're going to come out winning. And I like that about a game like this. It's like super technical and you kind of have to be on your A game uh to kind of pull out wins. And I like having to play with my brain when it comes to, fighting and stuff.
And it's not, and it gives it, like I said, it gives it a whole other layer. So it's not just about garrison, and it's not just about rallying. It's about being able to do that and support it in the field, and being able to, strategically take out the targets that you need to, and how to maximize those wins and losses, but over a longer period of time. And it's like, it reminds me of a scenario where, I mean, at the end of the day, the more that you put into it, like, I don't know how many Pompeys we've won, even though they had much stronger players than us, but we were over, like, our numbers were overwhelming, or our players were overwhelming.
Or
That,
your coordination was
yeah,
better, yeah.
exactly. And that type of premise in a game allows for more balance. But that's also a whole other topic that needs to be covered, right? I mean, you've been in the game now for, you said, a couple of years. I'm only,
Yeah, like
400,
three.
right? So I'm only like 450 days, I think, active days in. So you've seen the game progress a lot more. Where do you see it now compared to where it was before?
So I will come to the defense of Doomsday sort of in this, but back in the day, and people kind of mention like the heyday, which would be like the best fights that ever happened, and I don't know if you've ever seen them like maybe watched a video, but it was like back when Boone, H&B and them, they kind of had a lot more Ammonite, like they just hated each other a lot more, right? And they always met each other in Island Ray, and it was like a big feud. And all there were at the time were, parts, which is on your profile, which to be fair, they are and were really expensive to already like
Mm.
kind of work up. And for like the amount of stats that you get, it wasn't anything crazy, or at least like it wouldn't make such a big difference to where, like, for example, during Dark Seal, I was willing to take on swarms because I was still able to trade positive against someone like Envy Your Hands just swarming my base, which now if I was to get swarmed, I would get absolutely like my cheeks would get clapped, you know what I mean? But back then it was much simpler. And to be fair, like I do think that like and sorry, let me continue on that. And tower fights and stuff, they were a lot closer. It was super hard to kind of find a massive gap between most groups. Like even if one group gapped another, it wasn't to some extreme point. Whereas now, like if you're in a G1 bracket, just sit on helipad. You know what I mean? If you're not in one of the top alliances, like
Yeah.
what point is there to fight besides you being fodder? If you're fighting in towers without having an insane well, there's literally no point. And I will be fair and say that in any case, Doomsday would still have to kind of develop in some sort of way or expand in some sort of way because that's how games kind of evolve. They would have still released something eventually, but I feel
Yep.
like they could have done a better job at releasing stuff or making sure the stats aren't as like significant or and just something like that, right?
Yeah.
Or for example, even like with like the workshop release, I was thinking, why didn't they just upgrade the level of parts, right? And people might be like, well, why would they do that? It's still very expensive, but like parts in general are expensive to work up for the amount of stats that you get not being as worth it, right? And I feel like if they really wanted to milk some whales would have bought that. If there was an extra part level or something, someone would have worked on that, someone would have spent on that. And whether you think it's worth it or not, that's up to you to decide. But someone would have spent on that, and even if like the stats were very minimal, a very minimal kind of incremental increase, they could have just released more levels to parts instead of something like workshop, and it would have made a lot more sense instead of dropping on a few hundred stats on our head and trying to
Yeah.
make us die.
Yeah, it's like, I feel, because like I said, I've been here for 400 days, and one of the things that I've believed wholeheartedly in this game when I first started was that it was one of the most balanced in regards to free to play versus pay to win. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that pay to win is a bad mentality. If that's how you're going in your game, I totally appreciate that, and there's value to that, right? You want to have those whales to be able to help support. But it was always one of those things where everything that you could acquire, you could get with hard work and dedication, right? You could do effectively for free by simply grinding the game out. Even things like March skins, right? If you saved up your resources, if you saved up your arrows, if you saved up your hammers and things like that, you were able to achieve things like March skins.
Yeah, I was saving up my arrows for months and then they popped us with that update and I was like, no,
You're telling me
no.
about it. That's the exact same thing that I was literally planning to do it
uh,
like that next time, and they're like, "Oh, we're done. We're doing it a whole differently now." And now March skins are totally unachievable for anybody who doesn't spend. And so I've seen the game go from what I used to think was one of the most balanced in regards to free to play versus paid, And unfortunately, it's hard pressed to say it hasn't gone a lot in the other way. They've dropped a ton of pay to win options. They locked, I mean, when they first released vehicles, they were absolutely almost 100% locked behind paywalls.
Oh, not even almost. They were. Like you literally couldn't unlock higher tier blueprints without spending.
Yeah, the tier threes, anyways. I don't know. Could you do it with tier
Tier
twos?
twos, you couldn't unlock tier twos without spending either. Because there
Oh,
was like this tier threes you could only get in the mall, and
yeah.
tier twos, there were like those little, how the bundles now give tier threes, the weekly ones, they
Oh,
gave tier twos instead.
yeah, yeah.
So you could only spend for them. And it's funny because right after I released my video talking about them being completely paywall, being a bad option, they freaking unpaywalled them. And I was like, is this just bad timing or is it great timing? Because what
It's
the heck?
it's either perfect timing because they were listening to you, or it's perfect timing that your video came out and it looked like they were listening.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I was kind of looking at this other situation and it kind of like reminds me of it. It's like, is it bad timing or is it good timing? Because if I release my video a day later, it wouldn't have worked, you know what I mean? Or if I release my video, um, or it's like, yeah, because if I release my video later, it wouldn't work because of the update. But if um, I forget what the other like point is, but it was like, if you didn't make the video at all, you wouldn't have gotten like criticism, right? Which in
Yeah.
this case, I didn't get any criticism for it, but it was just kind of funny to me. And I was like, bro, come on, man. Come on, man. How I get caught like that
they're just
right when I dropped my video.
they're
It was
peeping
like
the
it was like
videos.
it was like literally a day or two later. Like they had that update waiting for me.
Well, I mean,
They're like, Panda, come on.
it wouldn't be too bad to assume that they were thinking. I mean, you are one of the larger YouTube developers for this game, right? One of the larger YouTube creators. Is there anyone with more subscribers than you for this?
I don't, not that I know of, but it is possible. Like sometimes there's like other languages, but I feel like a lot of their subscribers come from other stuff as well. Because don't I've seen some big Doomsday audiences on like Chinese channels and stuff, to be fair, like or on like a Chinese or like Korean channel or something like that. Because I
Sure.
remember like getting shared a link and they had like, I don't know, let's say 3,000 views on the video, and I was like, what the heck? I've never seen this guy before. But I think it's kind of like a thing of like if you have like one if you're English, right, you're kind of out of this sphere of other content creators. Like I know Bang Bear, but I think that's only because I'm familiar with him. I don't know if I would have gotten recommended his channel otherwise.
Yeah. Well, and I
For
also know that there's like if you look in China, for example, they don't have same access to internet stuff. Like I'm pretty sure they don't have
yeah,
right YouTube, so it's not the same thing. So they've got what WeChat, I believe it is, or something like that.
yeah. I forget what I don't know if it's WeChat they upload on because it's actually weird because for example Nam has a channel, right? And he had a few thousand subscribers, but he had no videos. And I feel like I don't know if those subscribers are like actual subscribers or if they're like translated over from like something. I don't know how that works or anything, but I don't know if like it's translated over from some Chinese kind of app as he like comes on YouTube, but I don't know.
Yeah. I want to talk to him too. He's definitely on my list of individuals I'd like to sit down with.
He definitely plays a lot less. He's been like very little responsive compared to in the past.
Yeah, well, there's a lot. Unfortunately, I think with the amount of changes that they've dropped very quickly, a lot of older players have, like, even someone like Bane, someone like,
I think Bane quit, right?
yeah, I think Bane hasn't been on. I think he quit. Um, like, I mean, a lot of people from that, a lot of them are like moving to smaller accounts or moving to smaller places so they don't have to spend as much. It's interesting kind of to see the dynamic change.
Yeah, I never really understood big pushes on like spending like these because I feel like long term, if you just keep, and it's such a simple concept, but all you have to do is keep like your massive player base pretty happy if you just thread the line like just enough not to piss everybody off, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
You'll generally be good. But one thing I also was thinking about is like, for example, like I said this myself, like, oh, the game's gonna dying or whatever. But honestly, I'm not 100% sure if the game's actually dying or not because you really think about it. I mean, I've seen games like these, that are push pay to win heavy. And honestly, Doomsday, I feel like they've crossed kind of lines, but they haven't actually reached a line of no return yet, right?
Yeah, I agree.
And I've seen games that have like actually done that and they'll still like they'll still be just fine for years, or at least they're fine enough to keep running. And it's kind of crazy, but like, they'll still have a pretty steady kind of income of players. And I don't know, like I don't know if like Doomsday will be dying anytime soon. I'm sure like they'll still slowly be on the like decline, but I don't know if they'll like have a death like people might be thinking they are,
Yeah,
like
I think the definition of death is a little bit different, right? It's not like a game is going to die in a sense where there's going to be no players and it's not going to be accessible anymore. I see the death comment as more of the access to average individual. Like with how much you literally, I mean, I consider myself an average spender, and I spend, typically like 150 maybe 200 US a month.
I spend $5 on that monthly pass and I'm GG.
So like I'll spend like the $20 gold pack per month, right? Because it's a good value on gold.
Yeah, yeah.
Some like
Pretty
armament
stable
packs and
value.
stuff like that. Like I'll buy for armaments and things like that, or vehicles. I started to spend a little bit on vehicles now. But at what the cost to get into this game is now, I mean it's astronomical. I don't know how many smaller players I've talked to that says that have basically become disheartened because the gap has increased so much. So it's not necessarily that the game is going to die as if there's going to be no players. It's just dying in the sense that access for the average player who doesn't have thousands of dollars to spend a month, or who doesn't have an account at 150 million where they can sit back and still participate and still fight in good fights and not need to spend thousands of dollars a month to maintain.
Yeah. And yeah, I feel you about people being disheartened. I mean, like I said it yesterday when we were like chatting on Discord, but like I haven't even uploaded in like a week or two. And to be fair, that's like somewhat of me just being like meh about like doing anything right now. But I don't know. I'm just kind of like mid right now. I don't really feel all that excited to upload any videos. So I'm just not uploading any videos right now, Maybe when I'm feeling a little bit better on that end, I'll probably upload something. But I've just been chilling, doing my thing, not really stressing about uploading anything.
And I think that kind of just speaks to the health of the player, because I've been in the same boat. Like right now, truth be told, this segment that we're doing now has really gotten me kind of going in the morning, thinking about this. So
Yeah.
because it does bring me some brings me some pep in my step. It gives me something to think about, something to do. And I think that the game needs to think about doing something like that for the some kind of give back, some kind of event that isn't paywall restricted. Even if it's just a fucking pizza party. You know what I mean? Like, give us a corporate pizza
Yeah.
party.
Yeah. No, like it's like the school pizza parties, and then they give you that like little
Yeah.
slither of pizza, and you're like,
Yep.
okay, I'm done.
But you love it. You love it. Everybody dreams. I mean,
You love it. You're like, oh,
that's right.
well, I had fun.
The
I had
memories I
fun while
have.
that
That's right. The memories I
that
have at school
that
are.
2 second that 2 second bite.
That's right. Or the hot dog lunches. You know what I mean? Like, they're just
I
shitty
never
ass.
Oh wait, at school,
Yeah.
I had hot dogs,
I
but
mean,
the
you're
hot
only
dogs were kind of
20 though.
bombs.
Let's be real. When I'm talking school, I'm talking they handed out literally like Kirkland hot dogs paired
No,
with.
bro, I never had that, man. I never got that privilege, bro. I only had the little hot dogs in the cafeteria, and they either were hit or miss because they would either give you like me personally, I like the red hot dogs, man, the red wieners, if you know what I mean, bro.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
I was on that life. And if they didn't have them, I was crying
It's
because
devastated.
sometimes they had like good food, and then sometimes it was like it just totally missed. Like I don't know, like they changed out chefs every week or something, bro, because the food was wilding. And I'm allergic to a lot, so I missed like half the meals they serve. No, more than half the meals they serve in the cafeteria. For example, I'm like allergic to tomato sauce. So I
Really?
can eat I'll eat pizza if it's not saucy, but like the pizzas at school were sauced the hell up. And then they
Yeah,
would
yeah.
have like lasagna and they would have stuff like that. And I just couldn't eat like a lot of the stuff they'd served at school. So I was like I missed like half my lunches, bro.
Funny story. My wife is also allergic to tomatoes too, but it's because she's allergic to latex. So if you're allergic to tomatoes, there could be an allergy that you have in regards to latex plastics and.
I don't think I'm allergic to latex. I used to wear the gloves and stuff. I'm like allergic to a lot though, like even uncooked fruit, and they would make you take a freaking fruit with you, and I'm like, dude, I can't eat this. Like, stop forcing me, because they'd be like, make sure you take a fruit, and I'm like,
But
Come
it
on,
hurts
man.
my
Just let me get my
tummy.
food.
Yeah,
It,
but
it was mostly my throat. Like I would just get like a very itchy throat if I freaking ate uncooked fruit. So yeah.
well, this is where we're gonna wrap it up, my friend. I really do appreciate you stopping in and saying hi. Go
Yes,
ahead, take this
sir.
next little while and go ahead and blast your channel if you'd like. Let everyone know where to find you on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, you can check me out on that Panda guy if you really want to, guys. It's been a pleasure chatting with you, hi guy. Yeah, you can take back over there.
I appreciate it. That being said, guys, thanks very much for tuning in. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and go ahead and share the stream with your friends. As I said, this is going to be a weekly segment that we're going to do, and we're going to interview as many people as we can from all walks of life in the game to see who actually plays the game and obviously what makes the game tick. That being said, thanks very much. Love, peace, chicken grease, and until next time, stay lifted.